What is going on, everybody? I am Jay Howe, and joining me tonight is Pylon. Pylon, how's it going, man?
Not too bad tonight. Excited to see some sweet, sweet Heroes actions from some game devs.
And I think a lot of people are here strictly for that. When you come out of nowhere and you say, "Hey, guess what, guys? Blizzard is facing off against Riot, who I hear they have another game somewhere along the same lines, and they're going to be competing against each other." That kind of brings out a whole big crowd of people that say, "Hey, we want to see what's going on," especially when it's against or when it's with Heroes of the Storm. And they're actually competing this, I guess, under certain terms that we want to make sure that everybody kind of understands because this is very, very important. And I'm going to bring up a little bit of information that you guys do understand. This is being held essentially by Studio Rumble. Now, Pylon, you've been involved in this, right?
Yeah, so actually, I work for a game developer that was actually competing earlier in the tournament where we got knocked out by Riot pretty early on in the tournament. We didn't do too bad, but it was kind of fun. But yeah, it's a self-run organization. They do tournaments every year, different games, and they're having a lot of fun with it too. But the teams are like just people that work at the companies. It's not like official teams. It's not like Blizzard said, okay, we need to do some recruiting to figure out who we can get to win this tournament. There was no problems like that at all. It was just everybody having fun and just some developers being like, hey, I got four other people. Let's get a game going on right now.
I think that's one of the cool parts. I got contacted not too long back, and I found out. Thanks for that follow. I guess we're gonna have a few popping up here. I do have that enabled. That will not be enabled during the game. But yeah, that's one of the cool things that I found out about it. So I think anybody that probably works in some type of community or some type of industry, they've seen some type of softball league or some different rec
Yeah.
leagues or something like that. But in the gamer world, I'm sure there's still probably some rec leagues out there, softball or whatever. But in this one, we actually have video games as something of a sport. And like Pylon was saying, this is not run by Blizzard. It's not run by Riot. It's not run by any of these corporations. They're completely independent. It's just people that like playing games, and it's different companies, and they're going up against each other. So we want to make sure, in any form or fashion, that is not misconstrued at all. Again, I think my keys are locked up. There we go. When Alt Tab fails, there's issues. Um, but it's just one of those things. The other thing is, and this actually came up during the Reddit thread that Pylon posted, which had some really good info there. Uh, Nobody is stacking teams
No,
either.
no, we can tell
It's
you
just
definitely they are not doing that.
yeah. So it's actually a lot going on with these teams. The other thing is, you guys can check out the bracket there. I'm going to go ahead and leave you their site. It's actually just studiorumble.com. So you can check out that information. Then the thing that you can see now, there are actual names for these teams. Riot has named themselves
Abe's, Babes, and the Smiths.
Abe's, Babes, and the Smiths,
I'm
and they're
assuming that's
taking.
some form of inside joke between the team inside the team, but I don't know if that one anybody will understand other than them.
Can we say explain or Riot?
We can
Yeah.
try. Let's see what they say.
The other one, Blizzard, their team name in this one is actually Samurais in Disguise. And one of the things, if you actually take a look at the bracket and you go to the bracket or the thing, there's actually three different tabs. There's main bracket, losers bracket, and final. Finals where you'll see this, and then you can kind of get a little bit more information on there. Um, I'm gonna make sure they're actually telling me what maps they're banning. I'm
Yeah, I was a little bit confused. They have a little bit of an interesting way. They're not doing the map ban throughout Heroes Draft. They're just doing kind of like a gentleman's agreement, I think,
Yeah.
before the game.
I know last time we talked them into making sure that we did. All right, we will be getting a link here for you
Yeah.
guys in just a second. But you can check out more information about Studio Rumble. The other cool thing that I found is this has actually been going on for quite some time. When they gave me a little bit of information, I actually found they rotate games every year. And I believe it started a few years back, and I'm sure somebody will pop into chat and kind of fill us in on that. But I know they're going to be picking a different game going forward. Studio Rumble has been doing this for a while. I'm just very thankful that they allowed me to cast the losers bracket finals just last week. I don't know if that was last week, 10 days ago,
It was
or
it
what
was
day.
2 weeks ago, I
Okay,
believe. Yeah, because they wanted to make
time
sure they had a
flies.
little bit extra time in the middle there.
Yeah, but they've been doing it for a while, and I think the number one thing that's been coming out of this is the fact that everybody's like, "Hey, I've never heard of this. Why haven't I heard of this?" And so props to these guys for I guess bringing it to the public eye. I'm sure some people probably know it, right? But I think the majority of people I talk to are like, whoa, 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 wait a minute now. We've got Blizzard versus Riot
I
and
think
Heroes
the
of the Storm.
I think the teams that are actually made it to the finals too do make it a little bit more exciting for people. Like, I'll be honest, if it was my team making it to the finals, I don't think anyone would be like, "Oh man, Big Viking Games made it to the finals. That's so crazy." But being Blizzard and Riot, because as we know, Riot's made, I think it's a similar game to Heroes of the Storm. People have talked about
It's
it a
where
little bit. I
people
think it's a
laugh at each
small
other,
kind of an
right?
underground game. Only a few people know about it, but
They laugh at each other.
yeah. Oh yeah, like last game they were just like watching the lobby chat was just hilarious.
It's like,
People being
well,
one of our games, I think, against Blizzard, people were like, "Hey, so if we beat you, do we all get Overwatch beta access? That'd be
hey,
fantastic."
speaking of Overwatch beta, that's coming
I
back.
know
next
it's coming
week.
back soon. I need to talk to somebody in the game, be like, "Hey, hook me
We
up."
need to talk to a lot of people. I think a lot of people would like to talk to a lot of people for that Overwatch beta.
It's okay. We've
There,
got to pause for a minute there because somebody on the Riot team has to go grab tea. So there'll be at least 30 seconds before we get going.
so props to Pylon for joining me here. If you're on the West Coast, it's 10 p.m. and some of you might be getting ready for bed, and that's cool. So we appreciate you guys here. This is going to be a best of 5. Now, Abe's Babes, which is Riot, since they won in the winners bracket, they actually, because it's a best of 5 and you won there, did you get the link for the draft? It's 41-44.
Oh, I haven't got it yet either. So
41-44.
perfect.
But so they're gonna the Riot team actually gets a 1-0 lead because they won in that winners bracket, and technically, to get into the finals, Riot actually beat Blizzard. And again, since you're up late on the West Coast, 10 p.m. for you guys, Pylon and I are actually clear on the other side of the country. It is now 1:10 for us. So we appreciate you guys. Any energy and anything you guys want to throw our way. I actually casted a tournament just a few hours ago, and I'm doing another one today or tonight. I guess it technically is today at this point. So thank you guys for joining us here for a little bit of Blizzard versus Riot action, aka Abe's Babes and the Smiths versus Samurais in Disguise. Gonna have a little bit of fun with this one.
Yeah,
First
it should be a lighthearted game. Don't expect to see any meta changing picks out here. It's not going to be something that defines the generation of games here. It's going to be kind of a fun game. People pick familiar heroes. One of the teams was saying in the Reddit thread earlier today that they're like, well, our strategy to only pick Raynor because that's the only hero we own didn't work out so well because they hadn't buffed him yet. So
Yeah, and now if they pick him again, hopefully they've got a few more heroes by now. But Raynor actually took a little bit of a nerf, mostly on his health there. Makes him a little bit easier to blow up. I'm not sure if we'll see him as much. I'm sure he'll still be there at some point. But the meta in competitive heroes is changing very, very rapidly right
Yes.
now. Huge patch just the other day. We had a minor change before, and then Li Ming comes in, and Li Ming right now feels completely broken and OP. But Li Ming will not be seen tonight. I know that's a question that's come up a few times. Li Ming not going to be in this one. But as Pylon alluded to, I don't think you should expect overly crazy meta picks. So just have fun with this. Have
Yeah.
fun with the fact that you're going to see Abe's Babes and the Smiths, aka Riot, which I think you guys are here because it's Riot and Blizzard, not because it's Abe's Babes and the Smiths versus Samurais in Disguise. So we'll call it like it is. Versus Riot. You guys are gonna have a good time with this.
it looks like the teams are starting to get ready in the draft there, so it should be momentarily. And it looks like they are live on the draft.
And in good OBS fashion, the window does not hold.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you guys how much I love OBS. This first one is going to be on Cursed Hollow, and they don't do bans either. So if you guys are wondering, like, hey, where's first pick first ban? Where's the second wave of bans? That's not how this works. They're not into that. They're here to have a good time. They're here to compete. I don't know if there's definitely not a prize pool. So if you guys are wondering, are they competing for money? No. There may or may not be a.
I believe there is a trophy. When we first signed up for the tournament, we were told that there would be a trophy, but I don't know if that's still happening. And it looks like first pick is up. Do you have it up there now?
I do. So
Okay,
first
perfect.
pick is going to be Zagara. That's a pretty meta pick.
Yep,
And
that's a good pick
Zagara-
right now too, given a
Zagara's
lot
not
of
your
lane
first
presence.
ban. Do they know that Rhaegar just got a huge buff?
I would hope they know.
Because Rhaegar is going to be one of the first band's first picks going forward from now on.
I think for a little while we're going to see Rhaegar not get a lot of play because people are just going to ban him out because his heals have been phenomenal, even without the changes to the amount of damage he can do. That feral lunge being built into his Zed ability is just crazy.
The shield at 16 though is even because it's now like 15.
Yeah.
I think it's 50%. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Hey, there's the Raynor pick.
Yeah, there's a Raynor, and they got the Rhaegar against Zagara. Zagara's vision's going to be awesome for Cursed Hollow here, though, especially when you're playing with the level of play that I would say I'm familiar with. That vision gives you so much strength.
Is the question. So next is Blizz versus Riot and LoL, right?
Yeah, I think
Good
there
luck,
was actually, I believe 2011, Studio Rumble did do League of Legends, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd imagine it'll be a new game coming up there next.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't get the first part of the intro, they actually have been doing this a while. These guys from these different companies, again, they're putting us together. They play a different game every year. They're just kind of bringing it to the light, to the light for us over the last few weeks to allow. I've been able to cast Pylon, did a stream as well, and now we're here together, doing it as we see Blizzard going with Zagara, Vala, and Johanna. All strong picks so far. I mean, the last time we did it, I did see an Abathur pick on Dragonshire, which again, we don't expect these guys to be like hitting the pro circuit anytime soon.
They just really loved Abathur. Oh, and we've got a Jaina and Leoric combo coming up here. That's going to be exciting to see.
Also, I guess I should ask this now. I had to do a little bit of an audio change with a setup before. So if you guys, if I'm coming through too loud or Pylon is not coming through loud enough, please let us know. We do need to check that, I guess, the quick audio check. But we are going to see Kerrigan and Uther. So
that's a stun-heavy team there.
I think I saw, it might have been Blizzard, but I definitely saw a team run it during the last game in the losers bracket finals, and they were pulling off Kerrigan combinations.
Yep, there's I believe it was Batman was playing Kerrigan in the last game, and he was doing a phenomenal job. Batman, I should say.
I mean, if you look at it, Kerrigan and Uther, I mean that's quite the stun lock there, and if you can get some damage behind it, that could be pretty interesting.
Especially with Joe. Oh, go ahead there, sir.
I was just saying, Riot wrapping it up there. So Muradin, Jaina, Leoric, Raynor, and Rhaegar, two pretty. I mean, I guess you could say pretty even teams as far as comps. I think that Kerrigan pick is definitely going to be kind of the X factor for me. Is if Kerrigan can land those combos, then we're going to have some pretty interesting fights on the side of Blizzard. But like I said, Riot actually won this game in the main bracket originally, I think it was just a best of one.
It was a best of one to begin with, yes. So they haven't had to compete in the best of five, I don't believe. So
it is time for the rematch.
It is time.
They're fighting words. I'm ready to have a little bit of fun with this.
I think this is going to be a great game to watch, but we'll have a blast.
I'm going to give them the green light in game. We're going to have to update the names. I think sometimes they tend to switch sides, red and blue. Again, this is a best of 5. And since Riot won that first game in the main bracket, that gives them basically a +1. So the series is starting out best of 5 with Riot being up 1-0. And that is the fair way to do it when you have that winner's bracket and loser's bracket. So we're going to have that. So if you guys see a 1-up, no, this is the first game of the night. It's just, in all fairness, that's how it's going.
Okay, so we're just waiting for everybody to get ready in there, and we're going to be starting the game any moment now.
All right. Ready, everyone. The readies are going out from everybody, and it looks like we're finally going to get into the game. I want to make sure I have the right names up. I'm definitely looking for a Skachik there, because he's going to be my Blizzard guy. That's how I'm going to determine which team is which.
And Maximus on Riot, don't forget.
That's right. So game number 2, officially. Game number 1 for the night is going to be here. Riot versus Blizzard. It looks like Blizzard is going to be on the left side. So let me update that real quick. Cursed Hollow, Pylon, you want to tell them what's going to be happening here?
So Cursed Hollow is an interesting map here, as what happens is, if you're not familiar with Heroes of the Storm, it's similar to League of Legends or Dota, except for there are multiple different maps. So what you're going to be doing is seeing different objectives. Cursed Hollow has tributes that spawn at random times throughout the game. When you collect 3 of those tributes, none of the towers and fire anymore on anything at all, and all the minions only have 1 XP. So it gives you a huge siege advantage for all the players in there.
It's a chance early on, especially if you can take advantage of it. When you can get those structures down, get that XP, it really can play into your favor. But when you have 3, it also means that there's going to be team fights, which is where things can either make or break. So if you lose the team fight, the other team gets the curse and then snowballs it over, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. But we are going to get the introductions out of the way here. We are going to have Blizzard on this left side. And for Blizzard, we do have Skachik there on Vala, B-Song on Kerrigan, Pkex on Zagara, Strifey on Johanna, and there it is, Batman there on Uther.
And for Riot, we have Mia covering Raynor, Clark D on Rhaegar, Nick Wu on Jaina, and we've got Leoric top and Muradin going bottom here with
And
Maximus.
Starting off with the right away, they're going with the straight split lane push. They're going to send Leoric and Muradin top and bottom, and then send the other 3, while we do have Blizzard rotating all 5, looking to hide a little bit, possibly looking for an early gank. Pkex going over there, trying to get a little bit of vision. She's putting down the roaches, seeing who's over there, and spotted out there is going to be Riot.
Yeah, it looks like we got a little bit of a party bush going on up top here in the mid lane. Looks like Skachik is going to try to bait them back, and there they go in with all of the stuns that they can just pull out, and it looks like we might see Raynor go down. No, he's just going to be able to get out of there.
Come out there. They did try and get the stuns going. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get that in there. I think Diablo was trying to get that slam. Excuse me, not Diablo, but Johanna was trying to go in there with that condemn and pull him in. I don't know where I got Diablo from there, but
it's okay. And if we look down on the bottom lane, there's just going to be a little bit of trading back and forth between Zagara and Muradin, as well as on the top. We're just going to probably see a little bit of safe trading between the 2 teams at this point.
And as we did take a look at the bottom, and apparently Raynor did go down as Nick Wu in a little bit of trouble getting that chain heal out from Cloaky D or Clacky D, and he turns around, and this is where Rhaegar has seen a big change. He is doing a lot of damage, and we do see the grass coming out there by Kerrigan, and getting back in there, we see the chases on the Blizzard comes down, trying to secure that kill, and there it is again, Rhaegar showing some of the new changes after the patch, and turning right around in there when things look bleak, and securing 2 kills in that middle lane.
Yeah, that feral lunge is going to give them such an advantage at this point, because he can just jump a little bit forward and chase those kills. It makes him a very sticky hero to deal with.
I think that's the biggest thing, is that feral lunge used to have to spec into it. Now it's guaranteed the minute you go into wolf form. I think that's absolutely amazing. I mean, that's such a huge change. I mean, so many people used to go into that, you know, especially kind of depending on what realm you're in. You didn't really see that at the competitive scene, but having that availability there to do that extra damage, get those chase kills, or what we just saw there, is a quick shift, and then dive in and get that lunge. I mean, it can be a killer.
Yeah, especially since we saw Rhaegar fell out of favor with everybody. He kind of disappeared out of the game, but then it looks like he's going to be back with a vengeance now, as he goes in right on Johanna, seeing if they can secure a kill, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to.
Quickly directing their attention back over to Kerrigan, and this is another one of the big changes there. Structures now do 50% more damage. Nick Wu taking a lot of shots there. You can see the chain heals do come out, but those structures, of course, have been the bane of one of the recent metas, to where most teams just flat out push a lane a lot of times early game. So what do? They buffed it, made it a little bit more troublesome to kind of zerg that in the early game.
And right now, we're going to see the first tribute spawn. The teams have to channel this for a couple of seconds in order to capture it for their team. As we said before, once they get 3, it'll shut down the attack towers for their other team. So it looks like Blizzard's going to have a fairly decent job grabbing this, and Riot's just going to give it to them.
Yeah, not rotating up. I'm not sure if they just rotated up late or just felt that they didn't want that. I know Leoric was a little bit low on health in that top lane, but giving that first tribute there, and then keeping Zagara and Muradin in that bottom lane. As we do take a look at that, actually, we've got a little bit of action. But we take a look at that. Zagara, obviously one of the best laning heroes in the game. I'd like to see a little bit more creep going down, but the stun's coming out. Maximus trying to turn the tide in his favor, as we now see a rotation possibly coming down, giving up that because the creep is there, and that's the vision that we're talking about as the stun comes out here on Rhaegar, who's up here, but we see damage going out.
Mid and then go.
A little bit of trouble.
Kerrigan just went down there. She went in to try to get a kill on Raynor, but the 3-hero combo of Rhaegar, Jaina, and Raynor just took her out. No problem.
These are the rotations